It's the Chinese electric bus. Wow, this bus is futuristic.
Bridge, southbound.
Proxima parada. Pont Waterloo. Parada seguente. Vettoporno.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
We're going through the tram tunnel now. We're in the tram tunnel.
Urban Station.
Proxima parada. Vettoporno. Parada seguente. Rua Proctru.
To London Bridge.
Proxima parada, Rua Proctru. Parada seguant, Rua Brunu.
Brownlow Street.
Proxima parada, Rua Brunu. Parada seguant, Via Chancerie. Jansen.
521
Tan-
to London Bridge. Chancellor Lane Station.
Proxima parada, Via Cangerie. Parada seguant, Via Petru.
521 to London Bridge.
Via Cangerie.
Coleman Circus, Better Lane.
Proxima parada, Via Petru. Parada seguant, Plaja Vetabornu. Plaja Vetabornu.
521 to London Bridge. Coleman Circus.
Proxima parada, Plaja Vetabornu. Parada seguant, Viaducto Vetabornu.
It'd be good to get to this day and play mostly. We've got plastic games. Yeah.
521 to London Bridge.
Parada seguant, Porta Novam.
City Thameslink Station.
Proxima parada, Porta Novam. Parada seguant, Rua Roio Eduardo.
521 to London Bridge. King Edward Street.
Just going through Newgate. Into the city. Through Newgate. Próxima parada. Rua Royal Eduardo. Parada seguente. And Canjanova. Oh.
521 to London Bridge.
What I thought was following the rules.
Greyfriars Church. The weird Greyfriars Church thing that looks like a roundabout but isn't.
Is that all?
Outside Greyfriars Church.
Well, there are some